Annyeong, it's Mikey here, and guys, thank you so much for always supporting this channel. I can't believe how far this has come, and I'm truly grateful for all the things that are happening. I am really trying my best to make better content, but of course I'm gonna need your help, and please leave comments below, things that I can improve, and things that you want to hear and see, and I'll try to implement that in my videos. Now, I want to thank Mechlands again for sending me out the Leobog HI8 SE. So this one is gonna be a really budget-friendly, a full aluminum case, keyboard, and it has tri-mode and more, and a pretty large battery life too. So let's go take a look and straight into unboxing. And please make sure to like and subscribe. So starting off with the unboxing of the Leobog HI8 SE from Mechlands. Thank you again, Mechlands, for sending me this out. Now, as soon as we get the box open, we're greeted with the manual and a nice little pamphlet that gives you the function shortcuts and more. Now, we're going to open up the box right away, see underneath that there is the accessories. So let's take a look to see what we get. Of course, keycap puller, switch puller, and a cable. It's just a basic cable, you know, nothing crazy. It does give you a tool, which is really cool. I do appreciate that. And it gives you a USB extender. This is something also appreciated because sometimes you're going to get mixed signals, and it's just nice to have a USB extender that helps with the dongle, and of course 2 extra switches. Now we're gonna put everything back and of course take a look at the actual keyboard. So as soon as we get it out of the packaging, we can see the Leobog HI8 SE, the purple colored edition. I gotta admit, this keyboard does look really nice. There has this little magnet on the bottom. Sorry, I was just having a hard time getting it off. It has this dragon on the back. I found it really interesting. I'm not sure how it related, to be honest, but do not shake your keyboard too hard because it will fall off. It is pretty strong, but it will fall off. Has a USB dongle area, volume knob, and of course we're gonna have to weigh this keyboard before we do a sound test. This weighs about 1.75 kilos. Let's hear the sound test. So now that we've done the sound test, of course we're going to have to open up this keyboard. With my trusty electric screwdriver, we're going to open up, get all the screws out. There's a total of 6. We have to remove all those, and of course make sure the volume knob is removed as well before you take off the top. So as soon as we get the top gasket off, we're going to be greeted with the board, and on the bottom, this thing actually comes with 2 4,000 milliamp hour batteries. So a total of 8,000. That's actually really great because it's going to give you a really long battery life. Means less charging if you are someone who likes to use your keyboard wirelessly. Now I did have to remove the volume knob cable. One thing I do not enjoy about this board is the cable actually connecting to the USB ports in the battery. It's really difficult to get off, and the biggest thing is it's really breakable because it's hard to get off. But yeah, now as you can see that we do have a foam and a static sheet on the bottom of the PCB. Really great. Comes with also, you know, the plate socks. I was actually trying to see if I was able to remove the cable at all, which I was working on it, but yeah, I had to give up because it was breaking, and I didn't want to destroy any of the pins while doing that, because yeah, I want to make sure that the keyboard's actually working. So as you guys can see, the back of the board with the plate, as well as a PC plate, comes with the socks, right? So it's gonna give a little bit of a reducing of the vibrations just when it's actually fully down on the keyboard and the bottom of the case plate. One thing you can notice though is that the case plate, the bottom part, actually doesn't have walls, so it's actually completely flat. I found that quite interesting, the way that they did that, and then it actually has like those holes, so the socks actually go right in, right? So the silicone will go right in those holes, and then it's supposed to keep it stable without shaking or moving inside of the keyboard. That was kind of interesting, actually. Really interesting to see. And sorry, I forgot to mention as well, of course, you have a foam between the plate and the PCB. Now, because the bottom is completely flat and it's completely walled off only by the actual top gasket plate, I'm actually thinking that there's not enough room to add more foam into it. So instead, I'm actually just going to work on this with 2 layers of tape. So a tape mod, I think, is going to work best for this, just because there is really not much space. Like most of the times, even when you're working with gasket mount keyboards, usually there is walls on the bottom of the case and also on the top. I think this one, even though the top walls are a little bit taller, it's still not going to be enough space, especially with everything. Now, putting the actual knob cable back was quite difficult to do, but of course, I have to make sure to put it in correctly. So we're going to go into actually doing a tape mod. So you can see there, I'm just going to tape the back of the board, and then I'm doing a total of 2 layers in total. So just making sure that everything's there correctly. So we're going to put it all back together now that the tape mod has been complete. And we put the top gasket on as well. And then I'm going to do one more little bit of a modification on this keyboard. So I'm going to make sure all these screws are in and they're completely firm. And then I'm actually going to be modifying the spacebar, because I noticed the spacebar does have some tinging. I don't like it when a spacebar tings. It just really, I'm going to say, hurts my ears. I would say, like, it actually does hurt my ears. So I'm going to use the sound dampener that I always use. That's the thing I love about the sound dampener. It's just it works in so many different ways. It works for the board, and it also really works well with the spacebar. And sometimes if I get like a keyboard, even with like the backspace or enter key does not fully sounding the way I want it to, I actually will use a little bit of it to modify it as well. But of course, let's listen to a sound test. So first of all, let's start with taking a look at what switch is being used in this keyboard. So this keyboard comes with the Leobog dull switch. It actually has a nice light diffuser on it, and it does sound really thocky as well. I actually like it. I don't enjoy the fact that it is hard to open though. So when you're looping the switches, it does take a lot more work, I find personally. You could use your fingers instead of using like a switch puller with a switch opener, which is great in a way, but it's also just a pain in the butt to deal with. I'm gonna be honest, it's just a pain in the butt. I'd rather just use a switch opener, which makes my life much easier. But it does sound good, and it's a boxed stem switch, so you're not gonna get stem wobble,
And yeah, you get really good lighting from it as well. Definitely do. As you can hear right now, it just sounds really flocky. But let me just give you a little bit of a rundown of the software and where to find it as well. Now, on Mechlands website, you can click on the Hi8 SE, right? It's $95.39 on sale. Really good price, I would say. Like, not an amazing price, but a decent price specifically for 75% aluminum keyboard, completely compact with tri mode. Yeah, I'd have to say, like, and it sounds really good. Like, I actually do have to admit, Leobog switches and Leobog boards tend to sound pretty good, and are usually more on the affordable side than on the more expensive side, which is just definitely good. Now we're gonna go all the way down to the bottom of the site. I find that on Mechlands website it's a bit hard to find things, but you want to go into software and you're gonna search Leobog. So you search Leobog, you're gonna come up with a Hi8 SE driver. Don't click on the manual, you want the driver. And it only is available on Windows though, so you don't actually have a Mac thing. So just keep in mind that. So as soon as you see the software, again, sorry, it's not sure why, but the software wasn't actually being able to be moved or changed in size. It's a little bit weird, so that's something to note as well. The software is unable to change size. Now, one thing I don't like about this layout is the control is there instead of Alt. So it's not Alt FN for the 75%, it's actually FN control. I actually have to change the control to Alt because I change languages on my keyboard often, and Alt is what I use. But this is just a very simple software. It's nothing special, nothing amazing either. It's just a very, very simple software. Allows you to make some changes, though I was trying to make more changes to it, and it wouldn't allow me to. Like, I want to change the control to FN and then FN to Alt. That's something that I would have preferred a lot more, but I wasn't able to do so. So just keep a note that it is a very simple software, nothing crazy amazing, but decently working. And of course, I want to check Keyboard Inspector to see just what the polling rate would be, and yeah, it comes out to be actually supposed to be 1,000. So I had to redo the test because it says it's 1,000 polling rate. So I redid it, and yes, it comes to be 1,000 hertz. So not too bad, decent. Can be used for gaming. Like, I played games with it completely fine, and yeah, I mean it's a pretty good board. Though going back to actually looking at this keyboard, I mean, I think VIA support would have just been nicer, or both, right? A software or VIA support. Like, you can choose which one you want to use. Now this keyboard, I've used it for work as well. So at the office and such, it's not too loud. The switches aren't too loud, especially after modifying it. It was completely fine. Um, Something to note whenever for anyone that is looking for something to take to the office, um, just be aware that you may think it sounds a lot louder than it actually is. So because of the surrounding sounds and how sound travels, it actually isn't going to be crazy, crazy loud. Now, this keyboard has the switch, right? So you can choose Bluetooth or the USB dongle. Definitely great. The magnet on the back just to change up the design and looks, though you don't really look at it though. So I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this really has too much purpose because you don't actually get to look at it, right? Like, no one's looking at the bottom of their board really. So it's cool. It's a feature. I would say a little bit more of a gimmick than really something special. I think, in general, this board itself is pretty good on its own. You don't need some kind of feature like this. I think more keyboard companies should probably focus less on making gimmicks and really just focus on making a beautiful looking, more affordable, nice quality keyboard. But I have to admit, like, this metal, the aluminum casing is actually really, really finely done. It is good quality. I think it's soft. It does scratch though and break. Not break. Sorry. It is chipping a little bit, so be careful. Um, it feels very smooth for CNC aluminum, but yeah, so it does chip. I think specifically the paint is chipping. Um, I really do like this color scheme, kind of. I mean, I'm gifting this to my sister, so it's more for her to use at her work. And yeah, I mean, like, again, like, if you're looking for something under $100 that sounds good, feels good, this could really work well. One thing to note though is that the switch is very sensitive, so even with like a slightest touch, it might activate. That's something that is to note for this keyboard, is that if you're someone who has heavier fingers, this might not be the keyboard for you, and that's because it is a very sensitive switch. It does actuate much quicker. In terms of if you're someone that has a bit more of a lighter touch and you type very lightly, this is going to work really well for you, especially if you're looking for something that sounds really nice to use for working or even gaming. All in all, for 75% at under $100 with a aluminum case, I think this is a decent pick and something that maybe you guys should look at as well. So make sure to check the links down below in the description.
So what do you guys think of the HI8 SE? I mean, it is a more affordable aluminum keyboard that right now is on sale for about $92 USD from what I saw on their website. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for something that just has a little bit more color, specifically purple and blue, this is not a bad grab for something that's stocky. And yeah, I mean, I think it sounds pretty good. But of course, please come check out the other videos I got, and I'm going to keep bringing more things. And I have something new coming this month that's just not going to be a keyboard either. So hopefully you guys enjoy that video as well. So I'll see you guys next time.